Hey guys, and welcome back to Coffee and EdTech Break. Today on episode 4, I'm really excited to bring another great guest. We're going to hear today from Richard Dawkins from Crusader about what it's like to be a reseller during a pandemic. Grab your coffee, take your 15 minutes for a break, and enjoy. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, good, Lou. You?
Good to have you. Thank you very much. Have you got your coffee?
Oh, standard, mate. Standard.
Good stuff. All right, so thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time, taking out the time from the busy schedule. So just what I wanted to do is just basically get an overview of kind of what you do, where you're from, what your job's been like prior to coronavirus, and how that's kind of changed with the impact of Corona. So just to start, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what kind of job was like before all this.
So basically, as you know, I'm Richard. Working for a company called Crusader. I've been there probably about 18 months. Crusader's been in business, in the AV business for probably about 35 years, maybe a bit longer. Basically, we supply a wide range of classroom products from everything from nursery years right through to secondary school, universities, and even businesses. Crusader themselves, we also supply headphones, keyboards, mice, everything that you'd see in a classroom, really, we supply. So, yeah.
So everything you'd get out of school, you're kind of responsible
Yeah,
for?
basically, yeah. Crusader more or less cover it.
Wicked, excellent. So obviously we know each other. We've worked together several times.
Yeah.
Just to explain a little bit of your kind of experience working with ViewSonic in general. What was it like for you? What was the focus before this all happened?
Yeah, really good. Obviously, you know, we teamed together at some shows, some education shows. We use you quite a lot. Very easy to work with. From a personal point of view, being account manager at Crusader, if I want pricing, for instance, for an interactive panel, I can pick the phone up and get pricing within 10 minutes, and that's for me is priority for the end user. That's who we want to keep happy, mainly. So yeah, using ViewSonic for me is perfect.
So good experience with us. That's good.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. Yeah.
In terms of the focus then, so obviously, as you know, we're a big hardware company. We've done all the sort of hardware tech for years and years. But as you know, my view board's been hugely popular in the last 2 years. Before this all happened, was the focus mainly hardware, or did you have quite an appetite for the software as well, or was it a mix?
Well, I've got to admit, being out there on the road and visiting schools and universities, etc., probably 75% is hardware. People want to know, like we've done demos before together, and people want to know basically what they've got, what's going to happen once the screen's on the wall, what can they get out of it. But obviously, since all this has come up, it's probably 50-50 now. I've had a lot of inquiries for quotations, and the next thing to follow up is, well, what software we've got, what can we do if this happens again, type thing. And obviously, with your software being free, it's massively beneficial to some of the schools with their budgets and so on.
So before all this kicked off, it was definitely a case of hardware first.
100%,
software added value on top, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, 75% was hardware, 25% software, but it's probably evened itself out now.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I think there is a big change. So I've got a couple of facts here, just to sort of lead us on to the next couple of questions. So there was an estimated 1.3 billion pupils in the world affected by school closures.
Yeah.
Within the UK specifically, BESA, so the British Educational Suppliers, basically they did a study with 650 schools. They found that 24% don't feel that they've got guidance, information, or the setup to deliver remote lessons at all. So that's quite crazy that a quarter of the schools just in the UK feel that they don't have the appropriate stuff. And I don't know if you saw the last episode with two of my pals who I used to teach with, but basically they said they're doing no live teaching. So whilst Charlotte's schools seem well set up with sending PowerPoints and stuff, and Josh's are sending quizzes and all that kind of stuff, there's no live teacher element at all. So it's quite a kind of a strange thing to change from, obviously going from teaching every day in a classroom to a scenario in which pupils are not getting any teacher contact at all. So going back to what you mentioned about the kind of being a change between hardware and software, do you think the focus is changing from the kind of hardware over to the software, and generally what people want from you at the moment as compared to previous?
Oh yeah, changing massively. Like I said, I've done quotations and spoke to customers recently, and like I was saying, probably 50% of the questions now are about the software. But like you said, moving forward, teachers, 25% of the teachers in the UK can't teach because they've not got the facilities. I'm pretty sure that when the schools eventually get back, touch wood, it won't be too long.
Yep.
When they do get back, they're going to be looking at software solutions. I would
Sure.
guess, and hopefully it won't happen. But if there's that second phase of this virus, then I would have thought that the teachers will be looking for the software solution in case the second phase comes. Hopefully it won't. Fingers crossed.
Definitely. And I think that the key word you use there is solution. I mean, previously, when I first joined ViewSonic, for example, we were very big on the product side of things and pushing the product out to people. But I think this has basically shown that this industry needs solutions, not just products. So it's all well and good having a board, a computer, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you've not got the solution with all the kind of things packaged into it, where you've got, all the means of delivering the teaching, then, we're going to be in a difficult position going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So obviously you quote ViewSonic a lot. Like you said, we've worked together a lot. We've responded to the crisis by trying to make distance learning the forefront of what we do.
Yeah.
So that's obviously the live stream capabilities, the abilities to conference through our MyViewBoard software, the virtual classroom we've just built, even though it's obviously quite early days since its release, and it's still, development's still ongoing with it. We've kind of developed that, of course. The BESA study showed that 60% of schools want to find a cloud-based solution, obviously like ours. So for you, do you think this is a new long-term future? Do you think schools are now going to be going over to a cloud where things are more distant learning and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to physical face-to-face teaching?
Massively, yeah. I think obviously if the schools have got the funding to do that, then I mean, with the interactive panels, obviously your software is free. Probably 45-50% of the schools will want the panels to go in as well. If they've got the funding to do that, definite. But like I was saying about phase 2 with the virus, I think, me personally, I think the schools are going to get back and look at this sort of thing and then be reaching out for people like Crusader, and then obviously we'll be following on to you just to get the appropriate feedback for them, because I think 100% they're going to be looking, for a solution if this sort of thing comes again.
Yeah, sure. And there is actually rumours, I mean, it's not confirmed at all, but there is rumours that all schools by the end of this calendar year are going to have an EdTech strategy in place. So very few schools in the UK have it.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
But again, like you say, if another wave of this happens and we go into the same scenario again, we need to be more prepared. So you mentioned funding. Again, going back to that BESA study, 82% of teachers at the moment have said that they're trying to find free resources. That's their main focus, trying to find something that's free so they're not out of pocket, but also enables them to obviously deliver the lessons appropriately.
Yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned before our product is free. Have you had a real appetite for that? Has that been a bit of a game changer, the fact that you can say there's a free software out there that does X, Y, Z, this can support you, rather than saying, well, we've got something for you, but it's X amount a month per head, per pupil, whatever?
Oh, yeah, obviously. I mean, if you go and buy a pack of cornflakes from the shop and you see the free toy on there, you buy it, don't you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I say, since this virus has come in, I've been reaching out to the schools and the accounts that I've had, and I'll be honest, not a lot of the schools, they've had the boards on and they've not followed it up what they can do. So I've introduced them to my view board, and I think then from there on they've sort of feed it to the teachers they know, not particularly in their school, but the teachers they know in the area. So sure. I know from first hand a lot of schools and a lot of teachers are using my view board but not actually got the panels in. So yeah, the free software is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and obviously that is an advantage at the moment because
of course,
let's be fair, not many teachers are going to have an interactive whiteboard in the front room, are they?
No, they might have an iPad or a laptop, but I don't think they have a 75-inch panel on the wall.
Exactly, yeah, excellent. So what do you think is the long-term future of the EdTech industry then? Do you think it's going to flip back to the old way where it's just hardware going forward, or do you think there's going to be a kind of move over towards software being the kind of key element?
Yeah, I think a lot of teachers that are probably, without sounding disrespectful, maybe a bit stuck in the ways, they'll probably go back to the old ways. But I think 95% of the teachers are going to be looking at like, right, what if this is going to happen again? What we got in place? I think they're going to have some sort of structure. What they might not have an interactive whiteboard or interactive panel, but I think they're definitely going to be looking at some sort of structure, like you say with the software, and with the ViewSonic software being free, then they're going to be jumping all over it. I would have said when they get back.
Wicked, brilliant. So just taking it aside a little bit off topic there, golf. We're hearing hopefully next week we're going to get golf courses and stuff open so you can exercise at a safe distance from people.
I've heard the 18th by close sources, so fingers crossed. Yeah, I don't mind the game of golf, Louis, I must admit.
Yeah, you're not bad, are you, either? So I hear.
All right. All right.
Do you know what you should? You should try it on the projectors. You've got an M1, don't you?
No, I used to have one. I had one like as a trial that we used for Crusader, for meeting space and things like that. But I've spoke to Mr. Jepson, and I think we'll be looking at getting one over as a demo. I've got a lot of golf clubs we can speak to and look at the virtual setup. So
yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting scenario. Again, obviously nothing to do really with me. I'm obviously in the education side. But
yeah.
I'm very lucky to have a couple of projectors here, and some of the things you can do with it are unbelievable. So, like,
yeah, fantastic, really good.
And again, if we go into this sort of scenario again, how people can, continue as they were, with the same sort of stuff in a virtual space.
Yeah, like I say, with the teachers, if we get a second wave of this, if they've got an M1 projector, the unlimited things they can do with it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah, fantastic.
Super. So, I'll ask you the question that I asked the guys that I had last week. What's the first thing you're going to do when you get out of this lockdown? Do you think? If there's anything you can do as soon as it's all lifted?
Well, if my boss is not watching, go for a game of golf. But other than that, get straight in the office and get right back into it.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, looking forward to being back in, just socialising with people, really, to be fair.
Yeah, that's the thing. To be fair, I do miss being in and out of the office and seeing the guys. It is something I miss, but we obviously speak on a daily basis. But yeah, getting in the office is key.
Brilliant. All right, really appreciate your time, Richard. Thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I'm sure we'll be in contact very shortly anyway.
Yeah, speak soon, mate. Thanks a lot, mate.
Take care. See you later, mate.
Cheers. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks again for joining us on Coffee and EdTech Break. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. Hope you had a good break. Thanks again, of course, to Richard Dawkins, who gave us a real insight into the industry. And we'll be back next week, same time, so that's Tuesday, the 19th of May at 2 p.m, with some more great innovations and updates from the EdTech space. Have a good week, guys.